Now, Jamie Dimon, he's got it pretty good. I'm going to show you the amount of profit his bank is making. He's the CEO of JPMorgan. He was one of the most respected bankers. President Obama, not Bush, Obama considered making him Secretary of Treasury. Now, he's also been in a bit of trouble. I'm also going to explain that to you for all the different crimes that JPMorgan has committed, somewhat admitted to, and paid enormous fines for. But he's gotten away with all of that. There's no banker that was arrested at JPMorgan. They paid a small percentage of their profits, and they were done with it. And in fact, he personally lobbied Congress recently to make sure that the banks were further deregulated and could gamble with depositor money, and that the government would back it up, would bail them out again. And he won. But apparently, according to Jamie Dimon, in this world that he runs, as Dick Durbin famously said, number 2 senator for the Democrats, he said, frankly, the banks run this place. They own this place, referring to Capitol Hill. But what does Jamie Dimon says? He says, the banks are under assault. Oh my God, are you guys going to be okay? I mean, the victim mentality here, you know how the conservatives love to say, oh, liberals love to play the victim. No, these guys love to play the victim. Oh, poor me. I only made billions of dollars this year at my bank. But yet, at some point, Elizabeth Warren criticized me. Oh, my feelings are offended. He says, now let me explain to you how much money they made just recently. JPMorgan Chase earned $4.9 billion in the fourth quarter of 2014. The company announced on Wednesday, down from a year ago, but capping what CEO Jamie Dimon called a record year for the biggest U.S. bank by assets. When they make $5 billion in a quarter of a year, it's a little down from last year. But overall for the year, record profit. So how are you under assault? You just made a record profit and you said it. He goes on to explain, or the article does, the bank earned $39.7 billion in net income over those same 2 years, okay? 2 years, they made $40 billion. Now, he says, Dimon does, in the old days, you dealt with one regulator when you had an issue, maybe 2. Now it's 5 or 6. It makes it very difficult and very complicated. Are you going to be okay? As I was making my $39 billion, I had to check with a couple other guys. Oh my God, my heart breaks for you, man. Now, why did he have to check with all those regulators? Well, let's find out. The biggest U.S. bank by assets has had its fair share of trouble with regulators in recent years. In the fourth quarter, JPMorgan paid $1.1 billion to settle charges by the U.S. and foreign regulators that its traders had manipulated currency markets. See, you might need regulators on the watch if you're manipulating currency markets, which is wildly illegal. That's why you pay the $1.1 billion fine. The reality is you should have gone to jail. That's where you belong. And you're still crying? Oh my God, I made all these record profits. I had to give a nickel and a dime back, a small percentage of what I made. Oh, I'm so under assault. I had to check with a couple of regulators. But you think $1.1 billion is a problem? That was just in one quarter. By the way, how does he explain it? I love this quote too. Obviously, companies make mistakes. We try to resolve it. We try to fix it. We admit it. No, you don't. You say you're the victim. A couple of mistakes. Let's find out what a couple of mistakes are. In the past 2 years, JPMorgan has paid out $14 billion in settlements and fines related to the London whale trading losses, manipulating key interest rate benchmark LIBOR, issuing bad mortgages that helped to lead to the financial crisis. Those are all separate scandals. Oh, we manipulated the interest rates for the whole wide world for our own profit. Oops. So many people should have gone to jail for that. They're manipulating the interest rates on your mortgage, on your cars, on everything. You lose, they win. They took the money home. The $14 billion in settlements and fines, they're not paying the $14 billion. If they didn't do it, they got an army of lawyers they would love to use. They're paying it because they did do it. It's a get out of jail free card. They made $40 billion anyway over the last 2 years. You just give a small percentage right back to the government and you keep breaking those laws. And one of the laws that they broke was on fraud. That led to the 2008 economic collapse. We lost 8 million jobs because of that. But Jamie Dimon says the banks are under assault. I'm so sorry that we bothered you by pointing out all the different laws that you broke while you were making your grotesque profits off the backs of the American people. And it is, because it's taxpayer money that they're gambling with, and it's taxpayer money that bailed them out. And now, because of the laws that they have gotten through this Congress, taxpayer money that will bail them out again after they crash again. But apparently, we're bothering them too much. You have got to change the system, man. As long as these guys are allowed to buy the politicians, they will buy them all day long. Conservatives, you're worried about corrupt politicians, you're right. You're worried about big government, in this case, you are right. You think those guys are bought, you're right. Who bought them? Jamie Dimon bought them. The banks bought them. They did it for a rational reason, because they make more money that way. Now they have the gall to cry about it. You gotta go to Wolfpack, man. You gotta go to wolf-pack.com. If you don't fight back, they're gonna rob us all day and all night. Wolfpack is the answer, man. You get money out of politics, then he can run a bank all day long. I want him to run a bank. I want him to make a profit. But I don't want to do it at our expense. I don't want him to do it with our money, backed up by us. You want to gamble with your own money? Have at it, Hoss. But the reality is, if our politicians weren't so incredibly corrupt, that man would have been in jail already. So you'll excuse me if I'm not shedding a tear for Jamie Dimon. Wolf-pack.com.